It's been almost 3 weeks, but Caleb Williams is still in the transfer portal. We don't know when exactly he's going to sign and who it's going to be with, but we might have some clarity as to when we'll be getting answers for both of those questions. According to reports, Caleb Williams is down to only 2 teams, and his decision could come within the next few weeks. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you're a college football fan. And odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to join the best college football community here on YouTube. Also, if you could drop a like on this video, I would greatly appreciate it as well. It helps the algorithm of the video and helps share it with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. So Caleb Williams is still the top ranked player in the transfer portal and is likely going to be a Heisman favorite wherever he ends up. And according to multiple reports, he's still weighing his options on where he's going to transfer this upcoming season. On Wednesday, ESPN's Pete Thamel provided some updates as to when we could potentially see Caleb Williams make his decision. This is all nebulous. Williams' first recruiting process when Caleb was in high school took a year and a half. Carl Williams said we've got to do it now in 2 weeks, so it could be as soon as the end of this week, but there's also schools on the quarter system where they could wait until March. They want to see how NFL hires that could trickle down to college shake out, because they really want NFL training for Caleb Williams to best prepare him for pro football. Now, ever since Caleb Williams entered the transfer portal, this has been the #1 thing for him and his father. They want Caleb Williams to go somewhere that's going to best prepare him for the NFL draft in 2024. Now, there have been a lot of discussions that Caleb Williams is looking for his biggest payday in regards to NIL deals, but his father is still claiming that NFL training is the top priority for his son. I think Caleb is the big fish in this market, and it's really indicative of how college football is changing. The players have more power, and Caleb going around the country, seeking different schools and waiting to see what's available is a really important pivot point in the future of college football. So far, he's visited USC and UCLA, but has been on Zooms with at least a dozen other schools. The family is weighing their options, and Carl Williams, his dad, told me last night NFL, not NIL, is the guiding light of what the family is doing. They want to go to the place that best prepares them for the NFL and best prepares them to be the #1 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. So ever since Caleb Williams entered his name into the transfer portal, a lot of people, myself included, have just assumed that USC would be where he ended up. It made a lot of sense as he'd be following his former coach, Lincoln Riley. But just like Pete Thamel reported, he's also taken a visit to UCLA and appears to have been in discussions with other programs as well. There are also reports saying that Caleb Williams' camp has remained in communication with Oklahoma, and the door still isn't 100% shut on him possibly returning to Norman. Now, Oklahoma is definitely an interesting team to keep an eye on because they added transfer quarterback Dillon Gabriel, and they're also reportedly in the running for Jackson Dart. So if they were to land Jackson Dart in addition to Dillon Gabriel, it's just really difficult to see Caleb Williams wanting to go back to Oklahoma. Or he ends up deciding to go back to the Sooners, and we have the greatest quarterback room in all of college football. But I don't think it's likely that he ends up back at Oklahoma. Now, a key date to watch in this entire saga is January 28th, because that is the last day at USC where you can add or register for classes. Now, unless USC decides to bend the rules, Williams is going to have to wait until the summer to enroll at USC if he doesn't decide by then. Now, that date is different in regards to UCLA because they're on the quarter system. If Caleb Williams wanted to go there, he could wait until mid-March and enroll with UCLA then. Now, we know that other teams are in the mix for Caleb Williams, but the only schools that have been mentioned so far are USC and UCLA. Now, I'm sure he's talked to other programs because at this point you might as well see what they have to offer and what their pitch is, but it is interesting that no other schools have really gotten involved with the chase. Now, looking at his options, you would think that USC would still make the most sense. As we all know, he'd be teaming up with his former head coach Lincoln Riley again, so having that connection already is a massive bonus. But as his dad has talked about, if NFL development is the top priority, then USC does make the most sense. I know that USC quarterbacks haven't been the most successful in the NFL, but they've sent a number of quarterbacks to the NFL over the last few decades. Not to mention, Lincoln Riley is USC's new head coach, who has also sent a number of quarterbacks to the NFL over the last few years. When you look at all of the different schools across all of college football, I think USC probably offers the best chance at having an NFL career. Not to mention, it also likely helps that they're going to be able to offer a lot in regards to NIL deals. So yeah, when you take a look at this, USC just makes the most sense. Now, UCLA is certainly an intriguing option, but they don't necessarily have the best recent success in regards to NFL quarterbacks. I mean, what do you have over the last decade? Josh Rosen? Brett Hundley? Yeah, not the best track record. Dorian Thompson-Robinson recently announced that he'd be coming back to UCLA. Now, again, I think Caleb Williams would easily beat out Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but I just don't necessarily see him wanting to go to UCLA to play under Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly has been turning things around with the UCLA program over the last few years, but I don't think he's the right head coach to help mold Caleb Williams into the potential #1 overall pick. Again, Caleb Williams has already visited UCLA, so there's certainly some interest there, but if we're truly talking about what's best for him in regards to becoming an NFL quarterback, let alone an elite NFL quarterback, it's just tough to really see UCLA making that much sense. Now, I know back at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that Caleb Williams is reportedly down to 2 teams. Now, take this for what it's worth. This isn't 100% confirmed by anyone. This is just a report from Dean Blevins, who is a sports director in Oklahoma. Now, according to him, he was told that it's down to USC and LSU for Caleb Williams. Now, it's no surprise that if these are his final 2 options, USC is one of them, but seeing LSU all of a sudden come out of nowhere is certainly a surprise. Now, LSU is certainly an interesting option, as they haven't really been talked about during this entire recruiting process, but it does make a little sense. Max Johnson is currently projected to be their starting quarterback next season, but if Caleb Williams were to transfer there, he'd become their starter. They also recently had some success with a quarterback by the name of Joe Burrow, who was the #1 overall pick and is currently thriving in the NFL. Also, LSU recently hired Brian Kelly to be their head coach, who has had some pretty successful quarterbacks during his recent time with Notre Dame. Now, I know none of them have turned into big-time NFL quarterbacks, but Brian Kelly has certainly done well with quarterbacks over the last few years. So that might be an intriguing option for Caleb Williams. Overall, I still think USC makes the most sense, but I think there might be a reason as to why Caleb Williams has been taking this long with the process. I mean, again, everyone on the outside sees that USC is the best destination for him, but maybe Caleb Williams is truly thinking about some other options at this point. So maybe Caleb Williams will decide sometime within the next week, or maybe he's just going to drag this out until March. So where do you guys think Caleb Williams is going to end up? Do you think he likely ends up at USC? Or do you think a team like LSU or maybe UCLA come out of nowhere and bring him in? Or is there a dark horse team that nobody's talking about that you think potentially can come out of nowhere and nab Caleb Williams? Wherever you think he's going to end up, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys haven't done so yet, now is still the perfect time to smash that subscribe button and join the best college football community here on YouTube. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Oh, and don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It really helps the algorithm out and helps share the video with more college football fans. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.